what is veganism?
Veganism is attached to animal rights, so it's basically avoiding the exploitation and killing of animals where possible.
Okay.
So it's like human rights,
Okay.
but non-human animals.
Okay. So in terms of food wise, what is it?
So it would be no flesh, no dairy, no eggs.
Okay.
So it would be like oat milk, like like meat substitutes, things like that.
Okay.
So like you can go into a shop and you'll get like vegan bacon or vegan.
So is it a thing of the fact that animals get killed, or is it the way they get killed?
So it's a rights violation. So it's basically they're bred into existence with the purpose of killing them.
Okay.
And it's also treatment, but mainly it's seeing them as things to use
To use.
and kill.
Okay.
Because animals, like humans, like our presence on this planet will mean that even humans probably get killed along the way.
Yeah.
But like actively, like me going up to a person and murdering them,
Yeah.
like that would be a rights violation.
Okay. So it's not really an issue that with the fact that it's not an issue with the nature with the fact that we as humans or animals, yeah, kill animals for food. Yeah, but it's the fact that we just use it as a business to make money, and we just instead of treating them with a level of freedom. That's why you have like free range eggs, and you got the hen house for an example.
Well, it's still like it's seeing them as someone to kill.
Okay.
So like have you seen what free range looks like?
No, but what I'm thinking is what I'm seeing is like, okay, but you can make the same argument with, say for instance, a lion and a deer.
Yeah.
I mean, a lion's always going to see a deer as something to eat.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less.
They are also going to see babies of competition, of mating competition, as individuals to kill.
That's simply because of animals, of how they are as animals.
Yeah.
I mean, they're territorial animals.
Yeah, they're predatory. Yeah.
But then again, you got other animals within the ecosystem that
Herbivores.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like I understand your point. From a philosophical standpoint, I could agree with you. But if you're really stripping out the fat, from the bone, in reality, it's just a way of life. Like, it's not fair, but it's a way of life in that regard.
The thing is, though, we as humans, we've got systems that say the way of life, so like infanticide, like assault, all those things, we say, though that might be a way of life, like fighting over territory or stuff like that, we don't accept that. We have different codes. Like, we are changing constantly the morality to come away from nature. Like nature, for example, like things like sepsis and other diseases, we say, no, we don't want people suffering. We're going to make hospitals. We go against nature all the time. So we think nature's cruel.
Which it is.
And we try and stop the way of life. We try and make life better. And to make it better, we kind of come away from natural, horrific, ripping apart and assaulting each other and killing each other. And then we become what we call civilized.
But don't you, with that thought though, do you feel like there will ever be a point in human history that could be a thing?
I don't think, like, let's use murder for example. I don't think we'll have a murder-free world, but I think we will have a world where less murder happens. And I do think we'll see a world where less animal killing happens. Definitely.
I'd say that's. It depends. It depends.
It depends on us, basically.
It depends on the myriad of factors, though. You've got population.
Yeah.
You've got different countries that have a different way of life.
Definitely.
Different philosophy.
But when we look at, like, even 100 years ago, I think in this country, like, there was the last public hanging. It was either here or in France. We wouldn't even think, that's only 100 years, that's not very long time, that's one generation or two. And they were like hanging people publicly. Now we wouldn't like dare do that.
How would you see veganism being not enforced but involved in the world today in a mass way?
So basically it would be what we have today but more. So in each shop, like I'm pretty sure in that shop there are like vegan shoes.
No.
I can see some vegan shoes.
Vegan shoes?
Yeah, like shoes that don't have animal products in them.
Okay, yeah.
Or that shop down there, like a Pret, like it has vegan options,
Okay.
but the food would just be vegan by default. It would be like some lab-grown flesh, or it might be like alternatives that they already have, because they do they do a vegan BLT in there.
Okay, I've got a question for you. So, how would you apply the things that we do here to the rest of the world? Because you've got examples in some parts of Africa where cows are sacred. You know what I mean? And the whole aspect of having a farm of cows, is a means of wealth, and it spans back through generations. So how would you implement that in that type of environment?
Well, this is why I advocate here. I don't go to other countries and like tell them what to do.
Okay.
Like I have an idea about culture. I don't think culture like should take precedence over the life of like say a human.
Okay.
Like there's cultural practices that like involved killing humans, and I don't think that that's acceptable. Like so for me, I have my view where I'd be like, okay, I still think that's wrong, even if it's culturally significant. But I wouldn't go to like I'm talking to my country or whatever, like people who have a shared experience with me in that aspect, and saying to them, look, I know you can go to Tesco here and do that, instead of like going somewhere else and trying to tell them what to do.
Okay. But okay, would you still have the same argument if it was a case where animals, which is unlikely because of our population and the demand for food, but say that there was a situation where all animals were living freely on the field, you know what I mean, have a happy life and a happy death, and we still use them for food, would your opinion still be the same?
The same.
Would it be
because
the same?
if it makes it more easy to kind of understand where I'm coming from.
And I understand your point, but I'm just trying to challenge
Oh,
it.
yeah. So it would be the same, like a free-range human being. Like if I killed my happy neighbour, it would still be wrong to do that,
But
even if
I
they're
feel
free.
Like the dynamic's different though, because we don't eat each other.
But we have.
We have, but that's
and some cultures still.
That's still, but for a lot of the time, it's from extreme cases.
It is extreme.
But it's not the norm. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but beforehand, we have seen like cannibal reports of people just enjoying it, and we see that as.
But I'm trying to correlate from the same type of perspective, like how we see animals for eating. Yeah, and you're correlating the murder of an animal to murder.
Shall I explain why?
Okay, go on.
Yeah, so we are animals.
Which we are.
Yeah. So they are animals.
Okay.
So there's no morally significant difference between them and us that would justify killing them. Anything we want to say could be turned around on humans.
Not necessarily.
Like, have you got an example?
Huh?
Have you got an example?
No, but not an example, but what I'm saying is, us as Homo sapiens, and for instance, in Chip, we will never see eye to eye, even though we have the same amount of chromosomes.
We'll never see eye to eye, but they also suffer like we do.
Yeah, of course, but that's like all living organisms in the world.
And like, so for example, right now we're not quite seeing eye to eye.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean one of us is justified to kill.
100%. I don't think there's no justification for killing.
The animals as well. The animals as well. You mean?
But I'd say each other, because it's the fact that we as humans, I feel like it's the dynamic. I feel like it's a dynamic between how us as humans see each other and how we see animals. Like you said, we're animals at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So with that being said, there is a food chain in that regard. Like other animals are not having the same perspective of how we're doing it. Maybe because they don't have a level of consciousness that we do. But that's just the case. It's a part of nature.
Okay, so we would call this an appeal to nature fallacy in philosophy.
Okay.
So we would say it's fallacious because we don't work according to nature. We don't see that as right. Like killing each other is natural over territory.
Okay.
And though we do have wars, we are challenging wars to this day.
Yeah.
We don't like kill each other like over.
World War III now, but...
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe, but. If I said this is my space, and you've come into my space, I'm going to kill you. Someone would think I was like deranged.
Okay, yeah.
But that is natural
That
for
is
me
natural.
to, yeah. So, but I think that's wrong, and I'm sure you think that's wrong as well. Yeah. So we don't look at if we looked at nature as the arbiter of right and wrong, that would be fine morally.
Okay.
killing any child I can see that's not my own would be fine.
Okay, yeah.
Me assaulting people, fine.
Okay.
Dying of sepsis, fine. But we don't think like that. So we can't say food chain.
No, but you are right there, though. But I feel like it's a bit different now because it is part of nature that we kill each other and everything. Yeah, but I feel like it comes to circumstances as well. So we are in a circumstance where life is deemed easy. So there is no need to kill each other to a level. If it was a
I know what you
situation
mean.
where
Yeah.
food is scarce, land is scarce.
Or they come into your house and try and kill you.
You know what I'm saying?
There's context.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I feel like with context, the situation is different, but the fact of nature remains the same.
So the context, it does matter. That's why that changes this. Like if someone came into my house and tried to kill me, then I can maybe kill them and get away with it. But what we're saying with veganism is I've been vegan for 10 years.
Yeah.
It's something that we can do.
Yeah.
It's not a life or death situation. I'm not like being held at gunpoint. Like I'm not going to die if I go vegan.
Yeah.
So we are saying this is something we can do.
Yeah.
So we ought to do it.
Okay.
And that's why it's a moral obligation. We aren't in a life or death situation.
Well, we are getting close to a famine though.
Well, the thing is, if you're worried about a famine, you should be worried about animals being like we have billions of animals being fed. Thank you.
That's the point. It's interesting discussion.
Yeah. But when you look at the law of thermodynamics, all these animals being fed these crops that could feed people who are starving to death, and we're feeding them to animals to make them bigger so we can kill them. It makes absolutely no sense.
So to close up this conversation, though.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll present you a statement, and you have to prove me wrong.
Right, go on.
So veganism is an immoral application. Prove me wrong. Actually, no. I've got a better question.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, let's start off with that, and I'll think of another question as well. So veganism is not a moral obligation. How would you prove me wrong?
So I would ask what moral system you're talking about.
Okay.
So do you believe it's justified to kill humans?
I'd say it's justified. But we're talking about but my argument is for food. Yeah.
Yeah. So would it be
veganism
justified to kill humans, safe to eat them?
Okay. To answer your question, justified to kill humans.
In your worldview?
In my worldview, I would say no in this current state. But I could understand, not for me personally, but I could understand why a human would go to the lengths if it was a worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario. So
Yes.
so only in worst case scenario it's justified to eat them for food.
Mainly because of the fact that I've had an experience of not needing to.
Yeah. So is that the same for non-human animals?
Huh?
Is that the same answer for non-human animals?
For morally speaking, from my experience, I've only lived by eating animals.
Yeah.
So from my experience, I would say, morally, yes. To extend my point as well, I would also argue, the way the animal is killed, there should be a way of doing so because animals do feel pain. You know what I mean? There is a level of that my morality doesn't. It's not. I'm not empathetic to animals. You know what I mean? Animals like if an animal's suffering, you should close the chapter up so it doesn't suffer anymore. But in terms of you're killing an animal for the sake of food. Yeah. And there's cases where people won't even eat all their food. I feel like the animal should suffer in the least.
So the answer's different for non-human animals.
100%.
So that would suggest that there's a morally significant difference between them and us.
I would agree with that. Yes.
But so for me, in my worldview, there isn't.
Okay.
So what if they're not as smart? So what if they can't speak my language? So what if they look different? So what if, anything that you can say that I've heard for another animal, if used in the human context, that could strip people of their rights, like women.
Okay.
Women aren't as smart. Women are different. Women are Do you know what I
hear
mean?
you, but it's kind of a stretch because you're comparing an animal to the rights of us, like like okay. From my worldview and with what you just said, yeah, I would see it as a stretch because the fact that I said that I don't see animals in the same eye as I see other humans. Yeah, I wouldn't correlate those aspects of stripping the rights of animals to stripping the rights of another human that's I would consider within the same level.
Okay, so what is the difference then?
Huh?
Just like if you could put like one word to it, what is the difference?
Difference between the
So-
rights of an animal and the rights of a
So yeah, the difference between say a human and a pig that would justify slitting the pig's throat,
okay.
where it wouldn't for the human.
But I'd say I'll justify it through history, really, to be fair. You know, like,
History is so
I know, but
wrought with human rights
I know,
violations.
but I'm thinking from a primal state.
But we've already talked about how the primal
Yeah, no,
isn't.
but it is relevant to the discussion because, you know, our brain, we do have a primal side and a conscious side.
But do
You know
you
what I mean?
think we should use the primal side? Because the primal side would mean assaulting people, would mean
I mean,
killing people, would mean.
I wouldn't say, well, yes, but also have a level of consciousness or awareness of that primal side. You know what I mean? Because the reality is, yeah, we are always going to have a primal side, and with that primal side, we are always going to have urges.
Well, do you think it would be justified for me to punch a baby?
It's not justified, but what I'm saying is, yeah, if you have that, if that in your primal side is urging you to do so, I would urge you to control that side of you.
Yeah, so like Jeffrey Dahmer, he didn't control his
Exactly.
yeah.
And as a consequence, we have what we have today.
So let me reframe the question. So I'm trying to find out what it is about a pig that's so different, like the pig,
Yeah.
that's so different that means I can slit their throat.
Naturally, we see the pig as food.
But people see humans as food as well.
Yeah, yes, they can. I agree with you.
So there's no different.
Huh?
There's not a difference in the pig.
I'd say, what you said there isn't a difference. But
Yeah.
but
That's-
with the context, yeah, there is a difference because you know.
So the context is.
Because with the context, when I'm saying context here is because like there's only a minority of people that would be candidates.
Yeah, but that's the minority or not, it doesn't matter. It's about whether or not it's right or wrong. So you said it like we're talking about veganism not being a moral obligation,
Yeah.
and I'm saying, well, it would be because there's no morally significant difference that would justify it, as we just said it's not justified.
Yeah.
There are these fringe cases, but if I justified it for the animal, I would be justifying it for the human. So it would no longer be fringe. It would then be, oh, that's actually okay, and more people could do that.
Okay, so you know comparing the animal to human, yeah. Are you comparing it because of the fact that it is alive?
Sentient.
Huh?
Sentient.
Sentient.
Yes.
So would you say a plant is sentient?
No, plants aren't sentient.
Why is that?
So they don't have a central nervous system. They don't respond to like pain. Like they don't have pain receptors.
Okay.
And even if you wanted to, like, if we found out that plants could feel pain, the law of thermodynamics, you'd still be obligated to go vegan at this stage
Okay.
because you'd be killing less plants.
But okay, so I'm sure you've heard about the experiment of a plant being spoken badly and a plant being spoken with a good positive language, and how it's reacted, how the plant has reacted to it. And,
Yeah, I haven't seen that data, but all I've seen with plants is so far the scientific consensus is that they don't feel pain.
I hear it. Okay, cool.
But even then, it would still be like, oh, go vegan, because the law of
Really?
thermodynamics. Yeah, because we're feeding all these plants to animals first, billions of them.
Yeah.
So it would be like significantly less would come from being vegan. You're cutting out the middleman.
Hypothetically, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, plants are sentient.
Say in a hypothetical world, yeah.
Hypothetical
Yeah.
world, yeah. Would you still have that same? Would you apply the same morality to the animal that's feeding on the plant?
Well, I would see it the same. I personally would see it the same way, where I think that's a bad thing. I don't know what to do about that.
Okay.
But I know as humans, I can tell a human, like, this is what you're doing. Here's an alternative in Tesco. Pay for this.
Okay, but okay. So say like there is a way, to have an alternative, for the animal, to not eat that plant. Yeah, do you feel like you have the right to do so as a human being?
Well, yeah, because like I would want to stand up for the prey. Like, does that animal have the right to like kill that other animal? Like,
But you do agree with predator and prey as survival.
I know it happens.
Okay, but do you agree? That's a part of nature though?
I understand it's a part of nature.
Yeah, but do you agree with it though?
Well, morally, I think it's a bad thing.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think it's bad. I don't know what to do about it though.
Okay.
Like I grew up watching David Attenborough, and I always rooted for the prey. I didn't want the prey to get mauled alive. No.
Okay,
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Fair. All right, fair enough. What was your name?
It's Elle.
Elle, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Brandon.
If you want to see, I've got a card here. If you want more.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'll send it around my website,
Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a good one.